Hello, this is the instruction video on how to operate the Persistence of Vision machine for the University of Idaho Marching Band. It's very important that you watch this video before attempting to operate this piece of machinery in order to ensure your safety. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that the Persistence of Vision assembly is firmly placed on the ground. You don't want to put it on a surface that's going to make it rock, otherwise it could cause damage to the machine or danger to yourself. Now, before you operate the machine, you need to understand that the instructions on how to operate the machine are going to be attached to the machine itself. So if you forget something from this video, understand you can revert back to this how-to that will always be attached to the machine. So once you've made sure that the machine is firmly planted on the ground, the first thing that we're going to want to do is attach the LED spokes onto the front of the machine. Make sure when you're doing this, the battery pack is not in position to where it could accidentally turn on and cause damage to yourself. So I'm going to go grab the LED spokes. This is what it looks like. We're going to insert the spokes from the end into the drill chuck and tighten it down just like any drill chuck. This can be done by hand. No problem. Just tighten it as hard as you can and it should be just fine. Now, from the front of the assembly, there's going to be a switch on the electronics. This will be labeled for you for your assembly. So let me grab the... Right, so this is just a demonstration, so it's not going to have the lights that you might expect, but once you flip that switch, the LEDs will be active. All right, once the switch has been flipped, you're going to want to walk back around to the other side of the machine. Now, most likely for the application of this machine, the audience for the show is going to be on that side of the machine. So once the LEDs are on and you're attempting to operate the machine itself, it's very important that nobody crosses this plane of the machine so that their hands or head or body parts can get in the way of this spoke, which is eventually going to spin. Okay, very important that you stay behind the machine at all times. So the next thing to do would be to take this battery pack and install it into the receiver until you hear a click like that. When you hear the click, you know that the battery is properly inserted. There's a button on the top of the battery that if you press it, it'll show you how much charge the battery itself has. You're going to want to make sure it's at 100% charge before operating for a show. So now the fun part. Right here is a controller and a dial. The dial should be at the off position at all times when it's not being operated. You're going to want to turn the dial on slowly so that there's no jolting motion in the machine. You're not going to want to turn it all the way full blown. You're going to want to do it nice and slow like a clock, as you see me do here. It'll be a small click like that signifies that the controller is working, and then it will start spinning quicker and quicker as I turn the dial. It's not going to be necessary for you to turn the dial all the way to maximum speed. However, the machine will work when it is at maximum speed. It's more of a user preference. So at this point, the Persistence of Vision machine is working as intended, and I can do whatever I need to do for this show as long as I don't break this plane barrier, okay? When the show is completed, it's very important, once again, to approach the machine from the behind in order to turn it off. Now, once again, there's a dial here. We're not going to want to flip the dial all the way to the off position quickly. We're going to want to slowly ramp the engine down as to not cause any jolting motion in the machine. As you can see, I'm slowly turning the dial and it's slowly turning the motor off. Now it is off. You'll hear a click. That means the controller is completely off and it's safe to remove the battery. You're going to want to, once again, remove the battery. There's small buttons on either side of the top of the battery that you push in and pull the battery right out. You can place that here. Now I need to go uninstall the LED spokes from the chuck. It's very, very important that you do not attempt to uninstall the spokes when the machine is operating. Once again, to avoid damage you might cause to the machine or yourself. But now that it is completely stopped, I have freedom to be able to walk around to the front of the machine where the chuck exists. The switch right here, I can turn the LEDs off. The LEDs are now off, and now it's safe to unchuck the drill motor and remove the spokes. It's very important that you do this. When transporting this piece of machinery, you want the spokes and the mechanical assembly separate, once again, to avoid damage that it might cause the machine during transportation. As long as you follow these steps, everybody in the process is going to be safe and the machine is going to work as intended.